Hi friends, before we start, I want to talk about two types of changes, okay? She's going to say reversible. That means a change that can then change back. So it changes and then it can go back to how it started. So reversible. And then the other kind of change, you can't change back. So it's only going to change and then stay. And that's called irreversible. So we have reversible and irreversible. Okay?
Hi, second grade. Welcome back to science. We are going to continue our discussion on matter. And we've been talking about how we can mix matter or how matter can change. Today we're going to talk about reversible changes and non-reversible changes. A reversible change is a change that can be undone or reversed. For example, you see this chocolate here. When chocolate melts, it turns into a liquid state. But then when you cool it again, it turns back into a hard chocolate. Again, with juice or water, if you freeze juice or water, it can turn into a freeze pop or an ice cube. But then when you melt it again, it turns back to its original state of orange juice. When a candle wax is heated, it becomes liquid. As it cools, it becomes a solid again. So here's that example of mixing chocolate. Here's the chocolate bar, you melt it, it turns into liquid chocolate. The chocolate melts as it is heated, and then it solidifies or becomes a solid as it cools. This change is reversible. Reversible changes are also called physical changes, and this happens when you're melting or freezing. So now let's talk about irreversible changes or non-reversible changes. A change is called irreversible if it cannot be changed back again. For example, you cannot change a cake back to its original ingredients again. Irreversible changes are permanent. They cannot be undone. In an irreversible change, new materials are always formed. Sometimes these new materials are useful to us. So an example of non-reversible change would be cooking an egg. Cooking an egg is an example. Here is the uncooked egg. You break it, you put it in the pan, and it gets cooked. If you were to cool this egg off, it would not turn back into this uncooked egg. This is permanent, and then you would eat it. So this cannot be turned back to its original state. So it's irreversible. So some changes that are irreversible would be cooking and burning. Like if you burn firewood, you can't change the burnt wood back to its original state. Okay, so following this, we are going to do an experiment with melting crayons. I want you to make a prediction. So I have three types of crayons. I have crayons that I shaved with a cheese grater. I have broken crayons, and I also have whole crayons. So I want you to make some predictions. I want you to tell me which type of crayon will melt the best. Do you think the shaved crayons, the broken crayons, or the whole crayons? Go ahead and circle them. Then what will happen to the crayons? Make your prediction. Tell me what you think is going to happen to each of these crayons as I put them in the oven. So then another question is crayon melting reversible? It can go back to its original state, or non-reversible. It cannot go back to its original state. And so I gave you a sentence starter. Crayon melting is blank, and you're going to put reversible or non-reversible because, and then support your answer. I will also attach the actual experiment itself so you can see how it turned out.